Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business for this, the final segment of today's program. I do want to mention some great people that brought this program to you, the folks at humankindseo.com. Also got to remember to mention skv.com and richclub.org. Well, final segment, is also the final day, the day before yesterday for the one and only Robin Williams. Shocking to see his passing. It's kind of weird. I texted a friend. I got a chain text that I'm on, and people were in that chain responded to it immediately, and it was both tragic and somehow both shocking and yet somehow expected. The guy, to me, seemed like the personality that would wildly vacillate between manic and easily could be on the opposite direction. And from what we read and what we see, he was in that opposite direction quite a bit, especially since the end of his TV show that lasted only one season. So that was interesting. And every person, depending on their age, has their own Robin Williams moment, Robin Williams memory. Me being, in my early 50s, is Mork from Ork. I mean, I grew, I watched that in the original, not in reruns, as it unfolded. And what a unique talent he was. Dan, who's considerably younger than me and boasts about that often, Dan Shedd, who's with us here. Dan, what was your first Robin Williams experience?
My first Robin Williams experience was, or the one that I can remember the most, is Patch Adams, the movie about that doctor who brought humor to medicine, and he just really brought that role to life. And when I heard the news yesterday, I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" Because he was such a great comedian and actor across generations. I mean, people remember him, like you said, from Mork and Mindy to his, more recent role of being on that sitcom on CBS.
Crazy People, is that what it was called?
Crazy People, yes.
Crazy People,
or
yeah.
The Crazy Ones.
Crazy Ones,
Crazy
thank you.
Ones. And
we're like a bad game show, aren't we? So, yeah, absolutely. And so, he has been so relevant since the 1970s. He's been relevant for something. I wish my producer, Sigmund, was in here, because he could come up with something for each generation. So 70s would have been Mork and Mindy. 80 would have been A World According to Garp. 90s, good question.
Flubber.
Wait a minute. What was the one that you just talked about?
Patch Adams.
That was 97.
And don't forget about Flubber.
Or 98. Somewhere around that. What's that?
Flubber. The movie
Flubber would have
Flubber.
been in the 90s.
Yeah.
What about in the 2000s? There's got to be something. But anyway, the guy has a big footprint. Yes, go ahead, Dan.
Also, you got to remember he won an Oscar for, I think, Best Supporting Actor in Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
So that was his...
And I think he was nominated. Good Will Hunting, that was in the 90s too, I think. Good Will Hunting. And so, Good Will Hunting was 97. What an incredible career, though. And people know him, and different generations know him for different things. And just an incredibly rich career. 63 years old. He's a little more than a decade older than me, and I just can't imagine, Lord willing, I can't imagine being 6 feet under, in 10 years. I like to think there's a lot of life left, and there was with him. He chose, apparently, it appears at this time that he chose to end his life, which is just an absolute tragedy. Tony Robbins, the inspirational speaker, talks a lot about the ability to communicate. There's those who can communicate very well, both externally, outward, and those who can communicate really well internally, inward. And the ultimate is to try to be able to do both. And Robin Williams clearly was not. He could communicate well externally, incredibly well, kind of like a John Belushi, several other of these comedians. These comedians, for various reasons, end up being tragic characters, and it's really sad to see what ends up happening. In the 2000s, he did a lot of cartoons in the 2000s, although he was seen in some pretty memorable movies for all the wrong reasons. 2000s, though, you did have Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. That was a decent flick, and I thought he did a good job, as well as Night at the Museum. He does a pretty mean Theodore Roosevelt, but kind of a quiet decade for him, the 2000s, and plus a couple of roles that I bet that he would have loved to forgot. Including let's see, what's Old Dogs? Oh my! There was some World's Greatest Dad. Yee. But overall, what an incredible career, and just really tragic to see that happen. And what do you think? What is it about these comedians that end up having these kind of tragedies?
Well, I think I heard something very interesting on the news earlier today about how these great comedians have, such a great outward persona, but inside they have demons that they need to work out, and sometimes it turns tragic, like with Williams, and it's very sad to see such a great person take his own life and not ask for any help, because that's what happens. They think, oh, they can handle it on their own, and this is what happens, unfortunately.
Yep. Absolutely. By the way, one of the large comedy clubs, one of the biggest ones, I can't remember which one. I thought it was Second City, but I can't remember for sure. But they actually have a consulting relationship with a psychologist that works with their comedians. If you need to talk to a comedian, they make them available at no cost to any active members of their troupe. And I'm telling you that all of this humor, all this self-deprecated humor, a lot of it is founded in authentic low self-esteem, authentic self-loathing, and it's an interesting and sad dichotomy. All right, Dan Shedd, we always enjoy having you on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
And look forward to chatting with you again soon. I am Kevin Price. And you are listening to, or have been listening to, The Price of Business. Do want to remind you, the best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. Have a great day, and spend it right here.